Introduction, the door to a new way of thinking. Imagine this. A man stands before a roaring crowd, hands bound, accused of crimes he didn't commit. His fate has already been decided. Exile, his home, his possessions, his friends, even his identity as a respected thinker, all stripped away in an instant. Most would collapse under the weight of this injustice, but not him. Instead, he stands tall, his expression calm, his voice steady. "You can exile me from my city," he says, "but you cannot exile me from my own mind." That man was Musonius Rufus, a Roman philosopher and one of the greatest Stoic teachers in history. He lost everything, his status, his wealth, his place in society, but he refused to let it take his inner peace. Instead of drowning in bitterness, he accepted his fate and chose to thrive in exile, using his time to teach, reflect, and strengthen his mind. This is Stoicism in action. Not an abstract philosophy, not a set of cold, rigid rules, but a way of living that transforms even the worst situations into fuel for strength and wisdom. What is Stoicism, really? You've probably heard the word before. Maybe you've imagined an emotionless person, cold and indifferent, suppressing every feeling. Or perhaps you've associated Stoicism with the idea of enduring suffering in silence, never complaining, never reacting. That's not Stoicism. Not even close. Stoicism is not about feeling nothing. It's about feeling everything without letting it control you. It's about finding clarity in chaos, strength in hardship, and peace in a world that constantly pulls us in every direction. At its core, Stoicism teaches one simple truth. You don't control the world. You only control how you respond to it. Why does this matter today? Look around. We live in a world of constant noise. News cycles thrive on outrage. Social media bombards us with comparisons, opinions, and distractions. Our personal lives are filled with challenges, stress, uncertainty, disappointments, loss. And yet, most people never stop to ask themselves a simple question. What in all of this is actually under my control? Stoicism gives us the tools to answer that question. It teaches us to stop wasting energy on things we can't change and to focus all our power on what we can. It helps us build resilience, not by avoiding hardship, but by facing it head on with wisdom and inner strength. This is not just philosophy. This is survival. This is clarity. This is freedom. A personal invitation. This is not just another self-improvement book. This is an invitation, a journey into a new way of thinking, a new way of seeing the world, a new way of seeing yourself. And as you listen, I want you to do something. Let go of what you think you know. Open yourself up to the possibility that the way you experience life right now, your stress, your reactions, your struggles, might not be the only way. What if you could go through life unshaken by chaos, fearless in the face of setbacks, calm even when everything around you feels like it's on fire? That's what Stoicism offers. Not a quick fix, not a magic formula, but a path, one that has been walked for thousands of years by warriors, emperors, philosophers, and everyday people who sought to master their minds and in doing so mastered life itself. Now it's your turn. Let's begin. Chapter 1, The Unshakable Mindset, Mastering Perception. They took away his uniform. They took away his name. They locked him in a dark, windowless cell, miles away from home. His body was beaten, starved, and exhausted, but his mind remained untouched. James Stockdale, a U.S. Navy pilot, was shot down over Vietnam in 1965. Captured and thrown into the infamous Hanoi Hilton, he spent 7 years as a prisoner of war. 7 years of torture. 7 years of isolation. 7 years of waking up each day not knowing if he would live to see the next. And yet he endured. Not just endured, he thrived. How? Because they could imprison his body, but not his mind. Stockdale leaned on an ancient philosophy, Stoicism. He refused to see himself as a victim. He refused to believe his captors had power over him. Every beating, every interrogation, every moment of suffering became an opportunity to test his own strength. "I never lost faith in the end of the story," he later said. "I never doubted not only that I would get out, but that I would turn this ordeal into the defining event of my life, one that in retrospect, I would not trade." That is the power of perception, how perception shapes reality. Think about this. Two people go through the exact same situation, yet one crumbles while the other rises stronger. What makes the difference? It's not the event itself. It's how they perceive it. Let's say you lose your job. One person sees it as a catastrophe, panic, self-doubt, despair. Another sees it as an opportunity, a chance to build something better, to grow, to start fresh. Same event, different perception, entirely different outcome. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you interpret it. Nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it. The Stoics knew this better than anyone. Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, put it simply: men are disturbed not by things, but by the view they take of them. Pain, struggle, setbacks, these don't destroy us. It's our interpretation of them that does. So what happens when you change your perception? You change everything. Controlling your reactions in daily life. Life will test you. A rude comment, an unexpected delay, a stressful situation at work, every day presents opportunities for frustration and anger and stress. But what if you saw every challenge as a training ground for mastering your mind? Here's the key. There's always a gap between what happens and how you react. That gap is where your power lies. Let's say someone cuts you off in traffic. Your instinct is to honk, to curse, to feel your blood pressure spike. But what if, instead, you pause? Just for a second. What if you tell yourself, maybe they're rushing to the hospital, maybe they just made a mistake, like I have before. Instantly, you feel lighter. The stress melts away. Not because the situation changed, but because you changed the way you saw it. Perception is the filter through which you experience life. Change the filter, and you change your world. Action step, a mental exercise to change perspective instantly. Let's put this into practice. Step 1. Think of a recent event that upset you. Maybe it was a tough conversation, a disappointment, or something that didn't go your way. Step 2. Identify your initial reaction. What emotions did you feel? What story did you tell yourself about what happened? Step 3. Flip the script. Ask yourself, what if this situation was actually working for me, not against me? What is something positive that could come from it? What if this was a lesson, a gift, an opportunity? Step 4. Feel the shift. Notice how your body relaxes, how the weight lifts, how suddenly the situation doesn't feel so overwhelming anymore. This is the power you have at every moment of your life. The world will throw obstacles your way. People will test your patience. Plans will fall apart. But you get to decide how you see it. And that decision, that's what makes you unshakable. Chapter 2. Control and Surrender, the Art of Letting Go. For years, Michael did everything right, at least that's what he believed. He studied hard, followed the rules, and built his dream business from the ground up. It was everything he had ever wanted. Until one day it wasn't. The economy shifted. Investors pulled out. One bad decision snowballed into another. No matter how hard he worked, how many hours he put in, how much he stressed over every little detail, nothing could stop the inevitable. The business collapsed, and so did he. He spent months drowning in self-blame, replaying every choice, agonizing over every mistake. He spiraled into depression, convinced he had failed, not just at business but at life. Until one evening, a friend handed him a book, a slim volume by an ancient philosopher. At first, he scoffed. What could a man who lived 2,000 years ago possibly know about his suffering? But then he read one sentence that changed everything. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. Epictetus. For the first time, he saw his struggle clearly. His mistake wasn't failure. It was fighting a battle he was never meant to win. The Stoic dichotomy of control. Life is full of things we want to control, but can't. We want people to like us. We want the market to behave a certain way. We want things to go according to plan. And yet, no matter how much we try, we cannot control other people, external events, or the randomness of life. What can we control? Our thoughts, our choices, our actions. That's it. The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control, the simple but profound idea that peace comes from focusing only on what's within our power and letting go of what isn't. Imagine how much lighter life would feel if you stopped carrying the weight of things you were never meant to hold. Stress, anxiety, and decision-making. Think about the last time you felt anxious. Maybe it was a looming deadline, a conversation you were dreading, or a situation that felt completely out of your hands. What if, instead of trying to control the outcome, you focused on controlling your response? You can't control whether someone hires you, but you can control how prepared you are. You can't control if your partner stays, but you can control how you show up in the relationship. You can't control the economy, but you can control how you adapt to it. This is not about passivity. It's about power. The power to redirect your energy from things outside your reach to what you actually influence. A powerful exercise to detach from what doesn't serve you. Right now, take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Step 1, write down everything that's weighing on you. What are you stressed about? What's making you anxious? What keeps you up at night? Step 2, draw a line down the middle of the page. On the left, write things I can control. On the right, write things I can't control. Step 3, sort everything into these 2 columns. Be brutally honest. If something depends on another person's decision, if it's rooted in the past, if it's unpredictable, put it in the can't control column. Step 4, let go. Look at the right side of the list, the things you can't control. Now ask yourself, what happens if I stop trying to change this? What energy would I free up if I focused only on what I can do? Then shift your attention entirely to the left column. That's where your power is. That's where your peace is. Michael eventually started a new business. This time he did it differently. He focused on what he could control, his effort, his strategy, his resilience, and accepted that the rest was out of his hands. Ironically, it was only after he let go of control that he found success again. And so will you. Chapter 3, Embracing Discomfort, the Power of Voluntary Hardship. In a grand mansion overlooking the Pacific Ocean, a billionaire sat at a candlelit wooden table, eating a simple meal of bread and beans. His luxurious suits and silk ties were replaced by plain, worn-out clothes. He had no phone, no luxuries, just the bare essentials. For 1 week every year, this man, one of the wealthiest in the world, chose to live as if he had nothing. His name was Warren Buffett. While other billionaires indulged in extravagant lifestyles, Buffett followed an unusual ritual. He practiced being poor. He lived simply, ate cheaply, and drove an old car. When asked why, he smiled and said, "If I lost it all tomorrow, I'd be fine." Discomfort is a muscle. Most people live in fear of losing comfort. We avoid cold, hunger, boredom, and struggle. But the Stoics knew something most people don't. If you train yourself to endure discomfort, nothing can break you. Seneca. They called it voluntary hardship, intentionally experiencing discomfort to become stronger. Why? Because when you practice suffering on your terms, real suffering never catches you off guard. Think about it. If you've practiced hunger, missing a meal won't shake you. If you've practiced solitude, being alone won't scare you. If you've practiced doing without luxuries, financial loss won't ruin you. The more you train your mind and body to embrace discomfort, the less fear you have. Real-world Stoic practices. How can you practice voluntary hardship in everyday life? Cold showers, a Stoic classic. If you can handle freezing water first thing in the morning, you can handle anything the day throws at you. Fasting. Go 24 hours without food. Realize that hunger isn't as terrifying as it seems. Digital detox. Take a break from social media, news, and entertainment. Experience silence. Sleeping on the floor. Once in a while, skip the bed. See how little you actually need. Wearing simple clothes. Choose plain old clothes for a day. Notice how much of your identity is tied to appearance. Doing without complaints. Spend a full day without complaining, no matter what happens. Each of these practices toughens you. They prove that comfort is a privilege, not a necessity. Your challenge, the 24-hour voluntary hardship experiment. For the next 24 hours, strip away one comfort from your daily routine. Pick one. 1. Eat only the simplest food, beans, bread, or plain vegetables. 2. Take a cold shower, no warmth, no hesitation. 3. Sleep without a pillow or even on the floor. 4. Go without your phone, no social media, no distractions. 5. Wear your oldest, plainest clothes. Step outside without caring what others think. As you go through the challenge, pay attention. What emotions arise? What fears do you notice? How do you feel when you prove to yourself that you can do without? At the end of the 24 hours, ask yourself, what was I so afraid of? Because once you stop fearing discomfort, you stop fearing life. Chapter 4, Resilience in Chaos: How to Stay Calm in Any Storm. The operating room was a battlefield of beeping monitors and rushing nurses. A man lay on the table, his chest open, his heart barely beating. The lead surgeon, Dr. William Carter, had only seconds to act. A wrong move meant death. His hands never trembled. His breath remained steady. While others panicked, he moved with precision, calm, focused, unshaken. Later, when asked how he remained so composed under pressure, Dr. Carter simply said, "Panic is useless. The only thing that matters is what I do next." Emotional regulation, the Stoic superpower. The greatest enemy in any crisis is not the problem itself, it's your own mind. Fear, anger, frustration, and anxiety cloud judgment, making problems worse. The Stoics knew this well. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." A problem is never as bad as it seems unless you let your emotions take control. Resilience isn't about avoiding stress. It's about mastering your response to stress. The question is, how do you train your mind to stay calm in chaos? Stoic tools for remaining rational under stress. 1. Tactical breathing. Used by Navy SEALs, this simple technique forces your body to relax in seconds. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Breathe out for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Repeat until you feel in control. 2. Negative visualization. Instead of fearing the worst, face it before it happens. Ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? How would I deal with it? What if I saw this as a challenge instead of a disaster? How would my best self handle this? 3. Journaling to rewire the mind. Every night, ask yourself, what did I handle well today? What triggered me? Why? What will I do differently next time? This practice rewires your mind to respond with logic, not emotion. Your guided practice, the resilience drill. The next time you face stress, pause and follow this 3-step drill. 1. Breathe. Use the tactical breathing technique to slow down. 2. Detach. Imagine you are watching yourself from above. What would a wise observer tell you to do? 3. Act with logic. Ask, what action solves the problem? Then do it, without emotion. Every moment of stress is an opportunity to train yourself. The more you practice staying calm, the stronger your mind becomes, because true power isn't found in controlling the world, it's found in controlling yourself. Chapter 5, The Power of Death, Memento Mori and Living Fully. The room was silent except for the steady beep of the heart monitor. James stared at the ceiling, the weight of his own mortality pressing down on him. Just hours ago, he had been laughing with friends. Now, after a near-fatal accident, he lay motionless in a hospital bed, realizing something terrifying. Every second he had taken for granted was borrowed time. James had spent his life chasing money, promotions, and distractions, always planning for one day without truly living. But as he lay there, he asked himself, if today had been my last, did I live the way I wanted? Memento Mori, the reminder that changes everything. The Stoics had a practice that most people today shy away from. It's called Memento Mori, which means, remember, you will die. At first, it sounds dark. Why focus on death? Because only when you accept death can you truly live. Seneca put it bluntly, you are dying every day. The last day merely finishes the process. The moment you embrace mortality, fear loses its grip. Petty worries fade, delays disappear. What matters comes into focus. How to live as if time is short, because it is. 1. The last time meditation. Each morning, take a moment to imagine, what if this were my last conversation with a loved one? What if today was my final sunrise? Would I still waste time on distractions, grudges, or worries? 2. The deathbed test. Before making decisions, ask, if I were on my deathbed, would this still matter? Would I regret doing this or regret not doing it? 3. The 1,000-day perspective. Write down, if I had only 1,000 days left, what would I start doing? What would I stop wasting time on? What would I say to the people I love? Your interactive reflection, facing impermanence. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Picture yourself at the end of your life, looking back. What moments stand out? What words were left unsaid? What dreams did you pursue or abandon? Now return to the present. You are still here, you still have time, but that time is slipping away every second. Use it. Live with urgency, because one day, tomorrow won't come. Chapter 6, The daily practice of Stoicism, how to become unstoppable. The alarm buzzed at 4:30 a.m. Michael, a world-class athlete, rolled out of bed without hesitation. Every morning started the same way: silence, reflection, and discipline. He didn't rely on motivation, he relied on practice. Before the world even woke up, he had already trained his body and mind. While others complained about the cold, the early hour, or their lack of energy, he embraced the discomfort. Because resilience isn't built in moments of crisis. It's built in the quiet, daily rituals of the mind. The power of small daily steps. Stoicism isn't about grand gestures or sudden transformations. It's about small, consistent actions that shape a resilient, unshakable mindset over time. The great Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, weren't wise because they studied philosophy. They were wise because they practiced it daily. As Epictetus said, if you want to be good, first believe that you are bad. Translation: greatness isn't natural, it's trained. Your daily Stoic framework, morning and evening rituals. Just like an athlete trains every day, the mind must be trained with intentional practices. Morning rituals, setting the tone for the day. Memento Mori reflection. Start the day remembering, time is limited. Don't waste it. Premeditation malorum. Mentally prepare for obstacles. Ask, what could go wrong today? How will I handle it like a Stoic? Gratitude intentions. Instead of wishing for ease, focus on strength. How can I grow today? Evening rituals, learning and letting go. Self-examination. Reflect. Did I live with virtue today? Where did I falter? What can I improve tomorrow? Letting go practice. Accept what is out of your control. Release stress, worry, and regret. Journaling. Write one key lesson from the day. As Marcus Aurelius did in Meditations, use a notebook as a mirror for growth. Your 7-day Stoic challenge. Each day for the next week, commit to one simple Stoic practice. Day 1, practice Memento Mori. Reflect on mortality and live with purpose. Day 2, use premeditation malorum. Expect obstacles and prepare your mind. Day 3, train emotional control. Pause before reacting. Respond with logic, not emotion. Day 4, do a voluntary hardship. Skip a comfort. Take a cold shower, fast, or walk instead of driving. Day 5, reflect like Marcus Aurelius. Journal your thoughts and actions. Day 6, let go of control. Consciously surrender something you can't change. Day 7, perform a virtuous act. Help someone without seeking credit. Final thought, make Stoicism a lifestyle. The difference between the strong and the weak isn't talent, it's training. Discipline over time equals unstoppable resilience. You don't need to be born Stoic. You just need to practice Stoicism daily. Chapter 7, The Stoic Approach to Relationships and Conflict. The boardroom was tense. Voices were rising, accusations flying. Mark, the team leader, sat calmly, absorbing the storm around him. While his colleagues lashed out, he remained silent, listening. When the moment was right, he spoke firmly, but without anger. Instead of reacting to emotions, he focused on logic, clarity, and self-control. By the end of the meeting, tensions had settled and solutions emerged. He had won. Not by overpowering others, but by mastering himself. The power of patience, silence, and controlled speech. Conflicts in life, whether at work, in friendships, or within families, are inevitable, but how we respond to them defines us. The Stoics understood that emotions are contagious. Anger fuels anger, but calmness can diffuse chaos. As Epictetus said, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. This means no one has the power to make you angry unless you give them that power. Stoic strategies for handling criticism, arguments, and difficult people. Pause before reacting. When emotions rise, stop. Breathe. Give yourself 3 seconds before responding. Master the art of silence. Not every attack needs a reply. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Reframe criticism as a gift. Instead of feeling attacked, ask, is there truth in this? If yes, improve. If no, let it go. Detach from the ego. Most conflicts come from taking things personally, but you are not your reputation nor other people's opinions. Choose your words carefully. Words can inflame or heal. Use speech like a scalpel, precise, controlled, and only when necessary. The 3-day Stoic Communication Challenge. For the next 3 days, practice Stoic communication in every interaction. Day 1, the power of pause. Before responding to anything, a message, an argument, an insult, pause. Don't react, respond. Day 2, the art of silence. In a conversation, listen more than you speak. Observe the power of saying less. Day 3, reframing conflict. When criticized, don't defend or attack. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Final thought, win by mastering yourself. You can't control others. You can't force them to be kind, fair, or rational, but you can control yourself. And in doing so, you become unshakable. Chapter 8, The Ultimate Stoic Life. How to embody this wisdom forever. He had lost everything, his job, his home, his savings. Yet when asked how he was feeling, James simply smiled and said, "This is just another season. It will pass, as all things do." He rebuilt his life not by complaining, but by accepting reality, focusing on what he could control, and letting go of the rest. Years later, his wisdom and resilience made him a mentor to others. He had become the Stoic he once admired. Stoicism is not something you try, it becomes who you are. Many people read about Stoicism, practice it for a while, and then forget it when life gets comfortable. But true Stoicism is not a temporary mindset, it is a lifelong discipline. Marcus Aurelius didn't journal Stoic thoughts just to feel better. He did it to train his mind every single day. Epictetus didn't teach philosophy for fame. He did it because he knew wisdom is useless unless lived. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. A recap of the Stoic Path. Master perception. The world doesn't control you. Your thoughts about it do. Let go of what you can't control. Your energy is wasted trying to change the uncontrollable. Focus only on your actions and reactions. Embrace discomfort. Hardship isn't a curse. It's your training ground. Stay calm amid chaos. The world will always be chaotic. Your job is to remain steady, unshaken. Live fully by remembering death. Every day is a gift. Don't waste it on pettiness and fear. Make Stoicism a daily practice. Philosophy means nothing if you don't live it. Your final challenge, a lifelong commitment to the Stoic way. For the next 30 days, commit to one Stoic practice daily. Write your reflections, apply the lessons, and see how you change. Then, extend it to a lifetime. This isn't just a book to finish. It's a way of living to begin. Conclusion, the final reflection. Life will test you. Unexpected losses, disappointments, and hardships will come. But the question is not if challenges will appear. The question is, how will you face them? You now hold the tools to stand unshaken, to master your mind, control your reactions, and live fully. The wisdom of Stoicism is not in knowing it, it is in living it. A call to action. Don't let this be just another book you finish and forget. Make it a turning point. Starting today, practice one Stoic principle, just one. Observe your thoughts, control your emotions, or embrace discomfort. Then do it again tomorrow. Your journey continues. True wisdom is a lifelong pursuit. Keep reading, keep reflecting, keep growing. The greatest Stoics weren't born resilient. They became resilient by practice, and so can you. This is not the end. It is your beginning.